Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Two Bear Tom.
And Loudmouth Jay. What's going
Hey,
on, people?
look at that. Jay's got a comfortable chair this time to broadcast in.
Well, yeah, I actually get to, broadcast in my living room instead of in the attic or the basement.
That's
So,
always good. It's always
yes.
good. Also, I just wanted to, for anybody, this will be posted to all the formats that I'm normally on. Today, I'm only broadcasting on YouTube due to technical difficulties. So, all my Twitch followers, Facebook followers, and followers of my personal page, as well as the Entertainment Fusion page on Facebook, it will be uploaded later. For now, I am only on YouTube. But look, it's gonna be a quick update, which is why there was no intro today as well. And the I meant to start the show up earlier, but unfortunately, um, your yours truly came down with COVID. Um, Despite having 3 shots, I still came down with COVID. I was pretty sick for a couple of weeks, uh, so that kind of delayed the process of doing anything. Also, another quick update: I can fully confirm that not on a regular basis like in the past, but I can confirm that Sour Girl will be um, coming back from time to time to the Entertainment Fusion and joining us. I know there was a lot of questions about everybody. I personally miss doing beer reviews. Might be able to convince Sour Girl to come on for a discussion, possibly, depending on what the topic is, but we'll see. But for now, it will be, doing some reviews from time to time. And yeah, that's the but I'm working on I'm working on getting the Entertainment Fusion back up again. I had a lot going on even before I caught COVID. I had a lot going on with work and everything like that that just prevented me from coming on. So before we get to a quick episode, I don't know if Mr.
Loudmouth.
LMJ wants to say anything. So
Yeah, actually, I was in the same boat as you are. I can't attend to my other platforms due because I also got COVID, but unlike you, I actually went to the hospital for a week, and you almost lost me there, people. Um, but I'm recovering, actually recovering really well right now, and I should be maybe later this week. Actually, if this goes well, maybe I'll uh, start early this week on my own. Yeah. So that's all I had to say.
well, there's a couple of firsts for today. Well, first off, before that, I want to say I think I could speak for everybody when we are all glad that we didn't miss you and that you are feeling better. We are all glad about that. It is um I was nervous. I'm sure your family was nervous about you as well. And I'm glad that everybody that unfortunately had to go through that in my personal life is recovered. Um So, uh, without further ado, here's another first. We're broadcasting so early in the day. This is crazy. Also, how many times have I been on here and I'm drinking water instead of beer? Not that often, right?
Yeah. I ironically too, I'm actually drinking coffee instead of beer myself. So
There you go. I save that for like the full episodes where like I need to drink to get through it. Um, so real quick, I just want to. I have an upcoming episode that I'm today. We're actually gonna talk about sports, which we don't do that often on the Entertainment Fusion. But it's also music related as well. But I am gonna do a sports episode later on because it was just announced 2023 Winter Classic is once again going to be at Fenway Park, and this guy is excited. That's going to be the fourth time, I believe, that the Bruins have had the Winter Classic. And shout out to Tuukka Rask, like him or hate him. He's had a lot of ups and downs throughout his career, but he is now officially retired. So with his retirement, we thank you for the hard work you put in. So on to the topic for today. The Super Bowl was yesterday, everybody. I know everybody watched it. Almost everybody watched it. I personally didn't. I watched halftime which is actually the first halftime show that I've seen in a long time. There's a lot of reasons for that. I don't agree how the halftime shows are done. Between the between how they're chosen. But I was wrong. I actually had a conversation with Mr. Loudmouth, and I said that Coldplay was last year's halftime show, and I was wrong. It was actually The Weeknd was who performed. It was The Weeknd. I believe Coldplay was the year before. And this year, I was actually excited because Eminem, one of my favorite rappers, favorite active rapper now due to DMX passing away, was going to perform. So I was all excited. It was going to be Dre, Snoop, Kendrick Lamar, and Mary J. Blige. So I'm looking forward to it. Eminem had the smallest part. He had the smallest part. Everybody performed like 2-3 songs. Even 50 Cent had a surprise appearance coming in, hanging upside down from the ceiling, which was kind of hilarious. A lot of controversy though. So I'll get the viewer's opinion, and Jay, I'll get your opinion, official opinion on air. So back in the day, and this has nothing to do with current politics or current society or anything like that. The NFL was not feeling Dr. Dre and wanted to censor Dr. Dre in regards to Still Dre from the Chronic 2000 album, which was pretty much the last album I think he put out, or last decent album he put out, since he's been working on one album for 30 years. And
the Guns N' Roses of the rap industry.
That's true. So the exact lyrics from the song was, still got time to perfect the beats, still not loving police. That is the exact lyric from the album. Nothing censored. I would have, unless it had the N-word in it, I would have said the full lyric. But those are the exact lyrics. Still got time to perfect the beat, still not loving police. And the NFL obviously was not too keen on the police lyric and wanted to censor Dre and said, no, you can't say that. We don't want any culture. We don't want a cultural war. So was it wrong of Dre to say it anyway? And is it in what's your thoughts?
Yeah, well, we had this conversation earlier today, and I was thinking about it. I don't know where Dre stands. I'm sure I know where Eminem stands, and probably like half the people that were up on that stage stand. It's funny how they don't want to be censored with free speech, but yet they want to censor other people. I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but they want to censor other people because they just solely because they disagree with them. Me, Drake could have said anything he wanted. I mean, this goes back to the Doors and Ed Sullivan back in the 1960s, where he wanted to change the lyrics to in "Light My Fire." Anyway, what's his face? Now I'm drawing a blank. Jim Morrison on live TV said the
Hmm.
exact words as he wrote it. So I mean, this goes back way back. Um, I mean, I understand where the NFL is coming from with the political climate right now. I also understand Dr. Dre, not wanting to change his lyrics around. So I see both sides of it. Um, uh, he could have picked a different song because of what's going on right now, but for him to, would disagree if he had changed the lyrics.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of Dre. I'm not a fan of that type of music, as you know, but I'm not a fan of suppressing anybody's free speech, as you know.
Okay.
So he could have picked a different song on account of because of what's going on in today, but changing his lyrics, I would have disagreed with. So, and plus the fact the NFL really holds no water with me in these days, anyway. Not that I ever did, but
Okay. Fair enough.
late. So,
I agree with some points. I disagree with others. One, no it's now there's free speech and there's right and wrong.
it
I do agree with free speech. I do to a certain extent. I agree with full speech as long as it doesn't as long as there's no harm intended. There are I think maybe we both can agree, maybe we can't. I'm sure you'll tell me. But there's a time and a place to say certain things, and there's time and a place when not to. Um, Dr. Dre, a matter of fact, every person on that stage was censored, um, and censored themselves at request, um, which I think is appropriate. And really, the only thing that the NFL said was, one, they didn't want that. We'll get to another thing that didn't really go by speech, but that still falls under um, expression. But that's freedom of expression, not speech. Um,
the borderline.
but the other thing that they did say is absolutely no cursing, which I agree with. Does that fall under free speech? Yes, but I don't think it's appropriate during something on regular television, for that matter, where they know children will be watching, where they know
Just
anybody could be watching, to be able to say whatever you want. I don't think is appropriate. Could they have gone a different route? But I know you want to make a point. Let me finish real quick. Um, could they have gone a different route and been like, you know what, bleep it, and just beeped it out? They could have, maybe, but they're still censoring it. So why not just say it?
well, the thing of it is that's on multiple networks, on regular cable, and you're not just talking about just if they swear, yeah, the people in the audience, kind of like the WWE. I know they've sworn and
Mhm.
stuff like that, but that's an FCC violation, and the NFL could get fined a lot of money. I mean, they can afford it, but they will get fined a lot of money for every swear. So that's where that kind of falls into is that. Um, uh, could they bleep it out? Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm sure they're on a 30-second delay and stuff, but but that's what the only point I wanted to make is that's an FCC violation if they swear.
But at the same time, though, okay, you can make it a FCC violation, but censorship is censorship. So what's the difference between them saying, okay, you cannot say not loving police, and you can't swear? Like, where's the difference there? I don't really see the difference, but that's just me. I think censorship is censorship. I can say Dre said it anyway. I think my personal opinion, if he came out and he did, because Dre was part of NWA, everybody knows that, it's wide known. If Dre came out and wanted to perform "Fuck the Police," I think that's completely different story. I think saying, especially with the lyric is old, it wasn't changed for modern times. It wasn't changed due to things going on in society. If he wants to come out and say not loving police, it's not, he's not saying, okay, well, fight the police. He's not saying fuck the police. He's not saying all this stuff. He just said, I'm not a fan of police. I don't think that that's, I don't think he should have been censored for that. Um, and like I said, I would disagree if I would feel differently if it was fuck the police.
True, but like goes back to what you just said, is in about censorship and being intent. What was his intent by saying that? Did he really have to say that? Did he really have to say that in that arena? Could he just pick a different song? He could. He has thousands of songs he could have chose, but he chose that particular song. Now, again, he shouldn't have been censored because I don't believe in censorship on anything unless it's threatening somebody's life or something of that nature.
I agree.
That's not free speech. Saying something like "I hate people named Tom," yeah, I would be an asshole for saying that, but that shouldn't be censored.
I agree. I agree. So I am glad, I am glad that Dre said it anyway. I don't find a big problem with it. And everyone I know here that was watching, of all ages, all the way up to like people in their 70s, nobody really seemed to have an issue with what he said. The only rebuttal that I have to what you said, and I do agree, he could have chose a different song, but the song that he chose fit perfectly, and the reason for that is because of the people that were there. Was Snoop Dogg, at that time was Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Eminem. That is a song that's equally shared between Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. So they both have just as big of a part in that song, which is why he probably, and that was one of his biggest hits. So with those two factors, that's most likely why he. But also, to kind of play devil's advocate to myself, he could have still played that song. He could have still performed part of that song, but did a different part of the song.
Well, yeah, as you said, they censored themselves. Now, I really don't understand that. I understand where you're coming. I understand it. I just don't understand why they would censor themselves. If you're going to censor yourselves, just pick a different song. But, shit, now I just lost my point. Never mind.
It's fine, but I'm not going to get into the censoring of oneself, because if we do that, that's going to spawn into a massive political discussion, and we won't agree, and we'll be here forever. And I'll probably get quite a few hate messages. So I'm not getting into censoring oneself.
Which is kind of an oxymoron if you think about it.
It is.
Getting hate messages because of, that goes against everything that you and I are talking about.
Exactly. So on to the second part. Now, we did have a discussion off camera in regards to, and like I had said, that brings me to my second point: freedom of expression. Now, I am going to let you say anything you want, but this might turn into a longer conversation, so I do want to keep it somewhat brief. Otherwise, this could turn into an hour-long discussion. Eminem was the main person that I wanted to see during halftime, and he also had the shortest part. Now, it can be argued that he was shortened due to disobeying the NFL, which is also what Dr. Dre did, but Dr. Dre disobeyed them on a different level. Dr. Dre disobeyed them on a lyric to the song. Eminem specifically disobeyed them in regards to wanting to kneel. Now, Eminem has been extremely outspoken in regards to social injustice, racial injustice, and a lot of other things throughout the years. One thing that he has also been extremely outspoken for was the shaming of Colin Kaepernick. He was extremely outspoken in regards to shaming him. Um, so the kneel that happened, or that he wanted to do, was basically uh, in honor of Colin Kaepernick's kneeling during the national anthem a few years ago. And it was basically like, I stand with you, Kaepernick, which is why he wanted to kneel. The NFL had said no, it absolutely not, due to the fact that it could cause cultural mayhem or whatever. I forgot their exact wording, but it was some kind of weird freaking statement. And they're like, no, you can't do it. Eminem did it anyway and kneeled. Um, some people are saying that he kneeled out of tribute to Tupac, because as his song ended, it went into California Love, which is a song shared between Tupac and Dr. Dre. That was a massive hit back in the 90s. So I have the same view of Eminem as I do with Dre. I'm glad that he did it on his own. I think that um, if it's, I think there's intent, and I think if the intent is to, I think it's, like I said, I think it's intent. I don't think there is any ill intent. I don't think there is any. I don't think it was threatening. It was just like a kneel in solidarity, and he held his head similar to the way that Colin Kaepernick held his head when he kneeled years ago. So, thoughts on that?
Well, first and foremost, I disagree with Colin Kaepernick's kneeling to begin with. I don't like him at all. I think that he did it because he thought he was. You know what? I'm not even going to get into it. I just totally disagree with the whole thing. On top of that, the NFL really has no place to tell Eminem to not kneel, because all their players, so 99% of their players, were kneeling for the past how many years since Kaepernick did it? So, so it's kind of hypocritical for the NFL to tell Eminem not to kneel. As far as Eminem kneeling, again, does he have the right to do it? Sure. I disagree with him kneeling, but he does have the right to do it. But yeah, I just disagree with why he's kneeling. But I agree with the fact that he has the right to do it. I'll just put it that.
I mean, again, this is something that we could have an entire episode just based on this. So to be somewhat, to keep it somewhat brief, I'm gonna say that I agree, and I agree and I disagree with you. I agree on the aspect that, do I agree with first of all, Kaepernick's expression? Yes, I agree with the protest, but I disagree with the timing. I don't think that was the correct place, and I don't think that was the correct time to do it. As far as the disrespect to the national anthem, is it disrespectful?
Yes.
Yes. Maybe it can be. It can be. I think that's. But at the same time, I think everybody can agree that that's something that we're going to disagree on. That's something that I think a lot of people might disagree on. But I think one thing maybe we can agree on is that national anthem stands for the right to be able to do that if you so choose.
I agree to that.
Would I do that? no, but well, and again, this comes down to intent because all right, I'm gonna share a story, in that Mister. Now, me and Jay, I don't know if I've discussed this on air. I may have, but we have known each other for a good 30 years. That's a long time. Okay, 30 years.
I'm up to 30.
There's been so way back in the day, me and Jay used to go to a lot of hockey games, a lot of them. We had season tickets. Um, he will attest to the fact that there were a few times in particular that I can remember, and there are other times where national anthem would play, and I didn't stand up. Did I not stand up intentionally? No. Was it disrespectful for me to be so wrapped up in conversation or so wrapped up in the moment that I didn't stand for the national anthem? So is that disrespectful because I didn't stand up? I think it all comes down to intent. Like I said, it was not my intent not to stand for the national anthem. In fact, I got screamed at by a security guard, which I felt was completely inappropriate. Because that's, I don't care I don't care if he was in the military. I don't care who he is. You're at your place of your personal feelings and your personal views should not affect your job to the extent that you're literally screaming at somebody because they didn't stand up. You don't know why that person didn't stand up. What if I was disabled and I had little walkers and it was extremely difficult for me to stand up? He doesn't know that, being at the top of the aisleway and then walking down the aisleway to scream at me because I'm not standing up. He has no idea why I didn't stand up. So it was inappropriate to do that. But point of the matter is, national anthem stands for the fact that we can choose to do that if we want to or not. Bottom line, people might not agree with it, but that's what that national anthem stands for. So did I intentionally not stand up in protest of the national anthem? No. I was wrapped up in the moment and just didn't even realize it. So go ahead, Jay.
Well, there's a difference between not paying attention and disrespecting our national anthem.
Okay.
But you are right in the fact that our rights as an American, and yes, our national anthem. Well, it doesn't say it in the national anthem, but what the national anthem means and represents. Yeah, you do have the right to blatantly disrespect it, but I mean, it's like I said, I could go on and on and on about this. So it's hard for me to actually put this in a short content, but I mean, they're I don't know. People are like, this country is so divided. Well, I mean, this doesn't help. Bringing the country together. This is one of the reasons why this country is so divided, is because of acts like this. It doesn't help. This is a negative protest. You're not going to get people on your side if you're disrespecting the country. I mean, I understand the theory behind the whole thing, although I think Kaepernick did it I think what he did, he purposely caused controversy to himself. But we'll get into that at some other point in time. I don't think his intent was legit. But he he got part of the people with him, and he got a lot of people against him. If you want to bring attention to your cause, you want to bring as much people over as possible. You should do it in a positive way and not in a negative way. This kneeling is a negative reaction to that, and you're going to turn people away from your cause. And that's, do you have the right to do it? Sure. Should you do it? No, but that's the way it is.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up because like I said from the beginning. I mean, unfortunately, we're making a quick conversation out of a long conversation. So, and we'll leave it at that. Maybe another day maybe another day when we have a full episode, we'll rehash the halftime show. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. But we're gonna wrap it up for there. Jay, thank you for your insight.
Uh,
You know, we don't always agree, but
hey, that's what
that's why you're here. That's why you're here, man. Because whether it's about the Super Bowl, whether it's about the halftime, or whether it's about a shitty ass B-rated horror movie that sucks, that one of us hates and the other one loves. We're not. We did the reason I bring his ass on is and made him a official co-host is because we don't always agree, and that makes it that much better. You
well,
know.
yeah, I can never stress this enough. Is that you and I rarely ever see eye to eye on anything these days, and but when we do have conversations like this, it's always respectful. It's always, I respect your opinion. I respect your point of view. Disagree, but I still respect. And that's one thing that we want to um, get out there to the people who are watching this is, yeah, you know what? You may disagree with what I say. You want to put a comment down, go right ahead, but just be respectful about it. There's no need for hate. There's no need. I'm not saying anything hateful. I'm just giving different opinions. That doesn't mean that I'm full of hate because you disagree with what I say. That's
exactly.
not what that means. It just means that, hey, we're all different. We all look different. We all have different mindsets. We just need to be respectful of everybody.
Exactly. They're not
So,
coming from the two bearded brothers. So, right? Hey, maybe that could be a new show name. Who knows? The Bearded Brothers, maybe, right? Not by blood, but in every other way. So, um, anyway, that we're gonna shut it there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know what you guys think about everything, and we can and stay tuned for updates, new episodes. I got a lot to talk about with some of the trailers that came out, and we'll definitely get into that in our first full episode. I will let everybody know when that's going to happen. Thanks you all for tuning in. Thank you, Jay.
okay.
And we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you. Bye.
Hey, stay safe.